On March 27, 2022, 37-year-old Cassie Carli kissed her young daughter goodbye and drove to Navarre, Florida, just outside Pensacola. The meeting was supposed to be simple, a routine custody exchange with her ex. They had done this before in public spaces, with the understanding that neutral ground meant safety. Cassie was known as dependable, steady, the kind of woman who kept her commitments. Friends said she never ignored a call. Her family described her as the one who remembered birthdays, showed up with food for neighbors, and built her life around the happiness of her child. But that Sunday evening, something shifted. Cassie met her ex in a parking area in Navarre, and surveillance cameras captured her arriving. She handed over her daughter, who got into her father's vehicle. Cassie waved as the car pulled away. It was the last confirmed sighting of her alive. By nightfall, Cassie's phone went silent. Her family grew worried, then frantic. By the next morning, the Pensacola and Santa Rosa County authorities had launched a missing person investigation. But how does a mother vanish in broad daylight in a public place without anyone noticing? Police rushed the scene that night. Cassie's car was still there, parked neatly where she had left it. The doors were locked. Her belongings were inside. It was as if she had simply evaporated into the air. Officers canvassed the area. Business owners were questioned. Grainy surveillance footage confirmed Cassie had arrived and made the exchange. But after she returned toward her own car, the cameras gave no clear answers. Her family and volunteers organized search groups, combing through wooded areas, beaches, and empty fields with flashlights and dogs. Missing posters with Cassie's smiling photo flooded social media feeds. For the first 48 hours, hope burned brightly. Maybe she had left voluntarily. Maybe she needed space. Maybe she would call. But Cassie Carli was not the kind of woman who disappeared. And as hours stretched into days, investigators faced a chilling possibility that she had met with foul play. Detectives worked quickly. They interviewed Cassie's ex, who was the last person to see her. According to official reports, he acknowledged meeting her that evening, but his accounts raised questions. Authorities examined phone records, reviewed more surveillance footage, and began tracking Cassie's digital footprint. Her car remained a haunting reminder, still parked in Navarre, silent and unmoving. Forensic teams examined it, searching for fingerprints, fibers, or any clue that might explain what had happened after the custody exchange. Local sheriffs held press conferences, urging the public for information. As one official put it, "This case is not a runaway. This case is not a mystery where she left on her own. Something happened, and we need the public's help." Behind the scenes, search warrants were being executed. Leads took investigators across county lines. Every breadcrumb pointed towards something darker than anyone had hoped. On April 3rd, 2022, just 1 week after Cassie vanished, the search ended in tragedy. Acting on a search warrant, investigators found Cassie's remains buried in a shallow grave in Alabama, several hundred miles from the spot where she was last seen. The discovery devastated the community. Vigils were held in her honor. Neighbors wept, and family members spoke through tears at candlelight gatherings, remembering Cassie as a devoted mother and loyal friend. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office quickly announced that the investigation was being treated as a homicide. Officials stated that evidence connected the burial site to Cassie's ex, whose name was later reported in connection with the case as Marcus Spanavello. He was taken into custody on related charges while investigators worked to build a case. But even as arrests were made, questions lingered. How had Cassie gone from a public parking lot to a shallow grave across state lines? And why did it take days before the truth began to surface? Cassie's death left behind not only grief, but a trail of painful, unanswered questions. The custody exchange had taken place in public, with cameras nearby. How could danger have hidden in plain sight? For the Carli family, closure remains elusive. They continue to speak out for victims of domestic violence and push for greater safety in custody exchanges, calling for supervised, monitored handoffs so no other parent faces Cassie's fate. The town of Navarre still feels her absence. Residents recall the shock of losing one of their own, not to an accident, not an illness, but a violence tied to someone she once trusted. And for true crime followers, the Cassie Carli case stands as a chilling reminder. danger can lurk in the most ordinary places. A Sunday parking lot, a familiar face, a custody exchange that was supposed to be routine. The story of Cassie Carli is more than crime. It is a warning, an echo of unanswered questions. What really happened between the time Cassie waved goodbye to her daughter and the moment her life was stolen? And how many other stories like hers remain untold, waiting in the shadows? What do you think about this Cassie Carli case? Has justice been served? Let me know in the comment section.